So, fun fact time, class. I was one of the 100 people worldwide who actually wasted their time buying a Wii U. I had just started a new job at the time, and I vowed that my first paycheck would not be spent in any kind of mature or responsible fashion. So I, of course, got the, at the time, newest toy that I could. So I got the Wii U. So when this game came out, I was super down to play it, and disappointed that it might never break free from being a Wii U exclusive. Thus, it would ultimately fall into obscurity. So when the wonderful 101 Remastered appeared on Kickstarter, I was quick to back it as much as I could. Look for me in the credits as Hipster Snek, no foolin'. So, join me for a closer look. Greetings everyone, this is the Hipster Snek, bringing to you today another Snek Suite. This time, we'll be looking at the 2020 remake of Platinum Games' Wonderful 101, the Remastered Edition. Originally debuting in 2013 exclusively on the Wii U, it failed to meet its original sales projections, probably on account that it was exclusively on the Wii U. Though it was praised for its comedic writing, excellent presentation, and distinctive gameplay style, in combining a team mechanic with Platinum's trademark super fast, super stylish, frantic pacing. Thus, it was small wonder, pun intended, that we got the Kickstarter that gave us the Remastered Edition. And fun story, I actually ended up getting 2 copies of the game. I had put in for a Switch copy of the game when I had first put my donation into the crowdfunding efforts, but due to current events being what they are, they preemptively sent me a Steam code too. Then about 2 weeks later, the Switch version also arrived, so now I have a digital and physical copy. A little odd, but true. We open in the modern day in Blossom City, USA. There, we see the startings of an alien invasion as a school bus is damaged in the assault, leaving mild-mannered elementary school teacher Will Wedgwood to shepherd his students to safety. After he does so, though, he activates his Wonder Pendant and transforms into Wonder Red, the Crimson Fist, and the first of the heroes we'll meet in the game. We then get a brief explanation of how the Wonderful Ones are 100 elite from 100 cities around the world, banded together to protect the Earth from all alien threats under the careful vigil of the Sentinels. Not long after, our Burning Red hero teams up with Wonder Blue, the suave sword fighter who is quick to brag about his Valiantium blade. Seriously, he will bring it up every chance he gets. Combining their power, they are instructed to save the citizenry and begin Earth's counteroffensive against the alien invasion of Guild of Evil Aliens terrorizing humans with gigawatt bombs, energy beams, ray guns, and killer lasers, or GEATHJERK. No, seriously, that's actually their name. I love this game so much. Graphically, the game's impressive, not just because everything looks good individually, though they absolutely do, using a bright, vivid coloration and highly detailed textures. The game also has to keep track of a lot of stuff on the screen at any given time. Being that your team can easily exceed 100 active units, mentioned in-game as a means by which the Wonderful Ones can deputize citizens to expand their ranks and keep them safe from harm, plus the levels are loaded in on a per-mission basis, with enemies and all else falling into place seamlessly. The show's very clever use of system resources and makes for an experience where the mission loads just the one time, and you get to enjoy the next mission front to back with no delays. So the game looks and works great on both an aesthetic and technical level. Which is kind of funny because it's very obvious to me that the loading screens, originally meant for the Wii U platform, pretty much don't need to exist because it loads so fast you don't actually get to play around in the training area while it's loading. And musically, it's pretty difficult to top a game that kicks itself off with a triumphant anthem about how awesome the main cast of characters is. And it doesn't really lose that energy at any point after the game's pumping theme song cues in the first mission. It stays in this very appropriately heroic-sounding OST, with rock motifs coloring most of the listening experience. The boss themes in particular are standouts with huge, sweeping scores all their own. Not that the stages are letdowns by any stretch, the accompaniment really makes you feel like a hero on the move, going place to place, saving the populace. And the sound effects are like a comic book movie made into a game, if that makes any sense. Every swing of your incredible Unite Morphs is satisfying, and the voice cast, almost all recurring pros from the anime scene, all do an amazing job. I just adore this game's soundtrack, and just listening to it gets me pumped up. Speaking of stuff to get you pumped up, let's hit that gameplay, because once it picks up, it does not stop. While you ostensibly control one character at a time, your inputs will give direction to every character in the party, many of them being civilians who you temporarily recruit in order to not just borrow their power, but also to get them out of harm's way. The entire team follows a loose approximation of what you're doing and tends to move more like a liquid than a series of solid objects shuffling around as they need to. However, while dashing, the entire team will bunch up around you to make their overall area less exposed, making it better for dodging, and, as a fun aside, will disband Unite morphs made including bridges. Yet, while recording for this episode, I managed to repeatedly bungle incredibly simple moments in the game because I was trying to run, and that caused my own constructs to fall out from underneath me at very inopportune moments. Speaking of, one of the things that the major characters can do are special abilities called Unite Morphs, where using their weirdly over and yet under-explained technobabble powers, they can shape their comrades into tools and weapons, each reflective of the user's personality. Leader of the team, Wonder Red, can use Unite Hand, which acts as a great boss-busting fist of justice, which can also interact with switches and dial-like puzzle elements. Wonder Blue has Unite Sword, which is great for sweeping smaller enemies and can act as a key to certain doors. Wonder Green has Unite Gun, which can suck up and fire out obstacles to clear out a path, or even fire other wonderful ones as bullets to deal with enemies at range. And the list just goes on from there. Another amusing fact is that, peppered between the random civilians and Defense Force members who can be brought into your team, named heroes of the proper 100 wonderful ones, will get special intros whenever you find them in each level. These include amusing things like Wonder Rocker, Wonder Santa, and even Wonder Bayonetta. Classy. The thrust of any given stage, like an old-school hero game, is to get from the start to the finish. However, that's neither a straight line nor necessarily without some backtracking involved. You'll often have to find some contextual movements, like using your team to build a bridge or a ladder, in order to progress. Then you'll save more citizens in order to tackle difficult enemies. Like the tank-like enemies, you have to block their assault with Unite Jelly, which is just kind of what I call it, in order to flip over and expose their vulnerable underside. The more people you have on the team, the more you can dedicate into a Unite morph, thus upping its size and overall power. So you want to save as many people as you can, then join their power to defeat bigger enemies, so on and so forth. And any citizen saved in this fashion will join the team for some time after the fact, as a lot of the time one level transitions into the next in line, including people rescued and extra Unite energy from the previous stage. And sometimes you'll have to use your powers in more creative ways, like this example from fairly early in the game's runtime, where you'll use Unite Hand to mess with some gadgets on the wall in order to solve a puzzle and open the way forward. Or using Unite Gun as a means of dealing with a boss fight's cannons. You'll be swapping between abilities on the fly as well in order to adapt to the situation as it unfolds. Early in the game, you're encouraged to get Unite Jelly and Unite Spring, which allow you to block or dodge incoming attacks as well, adding a bit of that platinum pacing to the proceedings. There's also the Group Rush, which has everyone just leap onto the enemy's Pikmin style, but honestly, I found that risky as one good attack by the enemies would scatter my stunned party members across the surrounding area a bit too often for my liking. So I tend to focus on solo attacks and dodging above all else, which does admittedly undercut the Team of Heroes motif a little bit. Throughout the levels and boss encounters, the gameplay will be spiced up by sudden, though rather generous, quick-time events, but you'll be prompted to use different abilities in various ways. One boss fight culminates, for example, by defeating a smaller mook in order to steal a baseball bat from it, and then slam a home run with the boss's own bombs in order to defeat them. Or even something as simple as leaping from one part of the stage to the next, or a sudden earthquake knocking the floor out from under you, forcing you to run back the way you came from. The game's designs are constantly changing and dynamic, forcing you to be quick on your feet and ready to use your powers at a moment's notice, like a hero ought to. And if you end up messing up the QTE, don't worry about it. You'll lose a little bit of health and be prompted to try it again. It's really not punishing at all. So in all this, was there anything I didn't like? Well, having to run in circles to recollect my team every time I got hit kinda got old pretty quick while I was adjusting to the game's pace. The bits that were clearly designed to be played on the Wii U's gamepad, resulting in a sudden and oftentimes jarring transition, were unwelcome in both the original and remastered editions of the game, and probably should have just been cut out of the game in their entirety. I also didn't like that I had no means of adjusting the camera's positioning, even though there were several times, mostly in the aforementioned gamepad zones, where I found myself desperately wishing that I could. But all told, these are fairly minor gripes that didn't really serve to blemish the overall game experience for me. All told, how was Wonderful 101 Remastered? Am I happy I backed it? Yes, I am, in fact. I'm happy to have backed it and proud to have multiple copies in my possession because the Wonderful 101 Remastered is an amazing action game with elements of puzzles, adventure, and minigames all sprinkled in just the right amounts to create a wonderful superhero story all its own. The writing is delightful, the characters are fun and colorful in every sense of the word, and I had a ball enjoying the entire experience from start to finish. And that's the final word on this Snek suite. This has been the Wonder Snek. If you liked today's episode, hit the like button so I know. If you want more like this each week, you can hit that subscribe and bell icon as well so you'll never miss a one. Leave a comment down below telling me your favorite wonderful one. And for more from me, you can head over to the Tomodachi Bros Podbean and YouTube pages, where my closest wonderful friends join me to discuss anime, movies, and more. So please, feel free to join me here every week for more obscure reviews, indie excellence, and more. And I will see you there.